French President Emmanuel Macron has led what's known as a sealing ceremony to enshrine in the Constitution a woman's right to an abortion. Abortion was decriminalised in France 50 years ago, but the Parliament voted for the amendment on Monday, making France the first country in the world to guarantee such a right. Well, here's our correspondent, Hugh Schofield.
Nothing actually changes from this ceremony. The change was voted through Parliament on Monday. It doesn't actually come into effect until it's released or entered into the official journal, which will happen over the weekend. This is a purely stage-managed affair to enact publicly something which would have happened normally behind closed doors, which is the imprint of the seal of the Republic in hot wax with a tricolor ribbon running through it onto the bit of parchment containing the change to the Constitution, which will then be added to all the other changes to the Constitution, and there have been about 25, which are kept in the Ministry of Justice behind me, and which are the sort of official record of how France conducts itself at this point in history. So it was done in due form and with plenty of ceremony, slightly archaic ceremony with his ancient machine from the 19th century, but it was great fun. The sun was shining. We're in the middle of Paris in Place Vendôme, and a crowd of very happy people, 300 or 400 people. I mean, not a massive crowd, but people who felt very strongly about it turned out and cheered the event. President Macron then gave a short speech. There was a rendering of the Marseillaise from a well-known female, well, I wouldn't say pop singer, but certainly a singer of renown. And then it wound up, and now the president is still there pressing the flesh and a kind of walkabout with the small crowd which is still here. So it's been a happy occasion, one has to say, because it's a move which the government wants to portray, and Macron wants to portray as being a very positive one. And in general, I would say the country goes along with that.
Well, let's just pick up on that final thought, Hugh. Yeah, what is the general position in France? Because, of course, many seeing this as a direct response, if not a response, in stark contrast to what's happening in the US.
Well, the French like, and certainly sort of the French establishment like nothing better than to be leading the world on social issues like this. I mean, that's a heritage of the revolution. They like to sense that they have spotted the way societies are going and have written into their laws and constitutions protections which other countries will then follow. That's certainly the case here, and the message being put out, you might say, rather sort of arrogantly. Certainly the accusations come from that quarter. They're arrogating to themselves their sort of universal mission to show the world what can happen if you push women's rights to their logical conclusion, which they would say is to put it into the Constitution, make sure that it is completely fixed for good, and that even if there are winds of change in the future on social and political matters, it won't be undone. So in general, I would say, as I say, people go along with that of course there's opposition to abortion here, as there is in many countries. There's a strong-ish Catholic Church, a minority of, say, 15% of the population are against this. Others are sceptical, not because they're anti-abortion, but because they feel this is a bit of a political stunt. But no one wants to say that, because if they say that, they'll come out sounding like they're anti-women's rights. So in general, it's been a sort of happy moment, and one in which France can think of itself as leading the world, and they love doing that here.
Thanks to Hugh for that.